and go on base with the new PIO. Is it PIO spokesperson? PAO. He's the guy who is doing the talking for the Guam National Guard.
And taking some really good pictures.
Right. Mark Scott. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, Chris and Sabrina. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. You know, I'm getting settled in for the new job.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the big task of trying to fill Major Joe Blott's shoes.
You really do.
Yeah, I heard she's a size 13.
She's really good. She's size 13.
They're tough shoes to fill.
Right.
You guys know she was a rock star.
Yes.
Very smooth on the radio, and like you guys know, as a photographer in my background, it's something I'm gonna have to try to live up to. So I'm gonna do my best.
Well, you're off to a good start. We get the pictures almost every single day,
right.
So thank you for that.
Oh well, you're welcome. You know, we believe, and our tag, General Agee's intent, is that part of our job is to be transparent and available to the community as stewards. Right? We're stewards of the public trust, so it's a part of what we try to do as much as we can.
Well, it sounds like we're already off on the right foot, Mark. So let's just get into it. We'll start with the status, and if you could give us a situation report, guys.
Yeah. We see those sit reports also from public health, and I think it stands at 17 in terms of the number of tests that have been conducted by the Guard. And I know that during one of the press conferences, I want to say about a month ago or something, I think it was either public health or the governor announced that the National Guard was going to ramp up testing. And so I'm just kind of wondering, what is the status? Because I've been seeing blanks.
Oh, okay. So, Sabrina, you're talking about with regard to testing the first responders back
yes.
a couple months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was a little bit before I came on board, but I did look into that. And yes, a couple months ago, there was an intent, right, for us to look at testing. Mm-hmm. We were assessing our capabilities, and we did have some equipment with our CST that looked like we could support public health until they got their tests. But as we were getting started, right, so we were learning the regulations, and we were learning our capabilities, and we found that it wasn't quite the right way. It wasn't quite the right thing to do. So we took a step back. So to be specific, I understand that our equipment was more for environmental testing, if that makes sense. Things like nuclear, biological, chemical, things like drug labs, but we weren't quite set up for human sample biological type testing. Does that make sense?
Oh, so the National Guard never got any sort of like test machine, or at the labs they have their, I can't even remember the name of the machines anymore, but
Correct.
They have those specific machines of, what are they called?
Abbott ID.
Yeah, Abbott ID, and the Gene Expert.
Yeah, so we do have the machines, Sabrina.
I see.
But it's important for us to do the right thing, right? And by regulation and by protocol, if these things are not designed and set for the types of tests that they're going to be used for, we had to do the right thing. And it was a learning process for us. Of course, we offer our support, and our intention was to help. But as we learned that those machines were not quite, their equipment was not quite the right ones to be using, we took our step back to our supportive role, and then public health is the one that took over the testing. So that's where we're at now. Public health is taking the lead with the testing of public and the first responders. Mm-hmm. We're in a support role at the locations where they're conducting the testing now.
Okay, so but 17 tests were run. Can you explain how you went from 17 to 0 and how this changed? I'm not sure I understand.
The first day, I'll have to get a date for you, Sabrina, but I know from when I talked to our task force medical, this is back a couple months ago, where they started the testing process, right? And they did test a few, okay? But like I said, when they started looking deeper into, the regulations and the protocols, was when we learned that this was not the right way to be moving forward, if that makes sense. So we stopped. We stopped after that first batch, and we didn't conduct any more after that.
Okay.
We allowed public health to take over the lead.
Okay, so you guys had the capability to conduct the testing, but for whatever reason, you guys stopped, and now public health has taken over. So you guys turned over the machines?
No, it's different stuff. Public health has their own tests now, which, like I said, was the right thing to do, Sabrina. It's just the equipment that we had. It had some capability, but it wasn't the right way to move forward.
Well, let's.
So no tests of first responders on behalf of the Guard. You guys have kind of like moved out of that mission. You're not doing that at all.
That's right.
Okay.
We're just in support of the public health.
Right.
And is that what it was, Mark? Was that it's a public health emergency? The public health authority is in charge during this emergency, and so they're leading the testing.
That's right, Chris. That is right. So we have a mission. It's called the DISCA, Defense and Support of Civil Authorities, and the key word there is support. So we are there to help the public agency kind of get their mission done and stabilize or fill gaps as needed, and then once they're able to, to kind of self-sustain and cover all the gaps on their own, is when we go back to our steady state, which is normal operations. So yes, Chris, that's correct.
What can you tell us about the status and maybe any update on any current deployments or anything coming in the near future?
Yeah, sure, Chris. So with these deployments, the show must go on. We continue to fulfill our missions. We just had a group go to Arizona for our southwest border mission. I think it was last week.
Yeah.
We have a Sec 4 mission ongoing. Right now we're on our third rotation coming up. So Sec 4-3 will be taking over that site defense up there in Guam. And I believe the Air Guard has a rotation getting ready as well, but I'm going to have to check on that. But yes, Chris, to answer your question, we stay ready, whether it's our federal or state mission or our community mission. We're always prepared to answer the call. So these things are continuing as usual.
There was a message, I think you may have sent it, from the Adjutant General. We ran it yesterday. If you could just kind of break that down for us, the COVID response, where we are with that, and I guess this transition that we might be seeing from COVID response to civil disturbance support. Yeah,
I can, Sabrina, and thanks for that question. So we've been busy, as we all have this year, right? We do have a COVID response, which you guys have heard. It's called the Joint Task Force 671. And right now we have about 250 folks on duty for it. About 2/3 of that is Army, and about 1/3 of that is our Air Guard. And we have different task forces underneath the Joint Task Force, such as, the Task Force Shield that does the QFACs, the quarantine facility. We're helping out sanitize mayor's offices, the traffic flow, and crowd management at the food distribution sites. We just have so much going on. We've got Task Force Medical with our surgeon cell. And with regard to that message, right, the message that the TAG put out, this was on Sunday during a drill weekend. It was a message to the troops and the families. And what that was, Sabrina, it was just a reminder, really. The TAG's message was, it was a reminder of our values in the Guard, first of all, and that we don't have a place in the Guard for discrimination. We don't have a place for racism. We're in the Guard, in that uniform, we're brothers and sisters, right? So we treat each other like that without discrimination. So it was a reminder of that. We cannot stand by, and we must be better. So that was the TAG's kind of main point. But she also gave us a reminder of our culture. When times get tough, you know how it is for us guys for thousands of years now. There's been typhoons, natural disasters. We always band together, and that's been a part of our culture. The TAG reminded us of that we come together in tough times. And I think lastly, the TAG's final message was that an affirmation of our oath. We raised our right hand, you guys, and we put on that uniform and we swore to protect our people, to defend our people. And if that call comes, you guys, we're ready to help protect the people because it's what we train for, and it's what we're here to do.
Train for this, bro.
Yeah. And it's all in the protection and the service of our people. So, of course, none of us hopes it comes to that. Right? And part of that message was a message of unity, that we come together. And that's what we're all hoping for. You guys, we got 1,000-some soldiers and airmen in the Guard. When you add their families to that, we have a big piece of the population. And, we are the population. We're a part of it. And we don't want civil disturbance any more than anyone else. But God forbid, should it come to that, you guys, we took an oath, and we'll be ready to help protect the people should the call come. And that was the intent, I believe, of the TAG's message. She felt it was important for all their soldiers and the airmen and the families to know, that this is who we are and that we stand ready and to join her. So I hope that answers your question, Sabrina. I probably took the long route.
No, it's fine. So you guys are still out there even till today. You guys are still at the QFAC and where else are you guys at? You guys helping with Reverend Tax still?
We got quarantine facilities, Sabrina, at the Wyndham Ocean View, the Grand Plaza, and we have the Bayview as a standby when I checked yesterday, just in case, like a full flight comes in and we need to overflow. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Our task force response, these are all sub-task forces, right, under JTF, Joint Task Force. We have task force response helping out with the public testing, with the one that public health is doing now
right.
at the
mm-hmm.
villages. Mm-hmm. We have task force response doing sanitation of the mayor's offices,
still, okay.
Which is one time shot. We also have some other things on the horizon that task force response will be helping with, similar to what you guys saw at Reverend Tax, where
mm-hmm.
There may be changes to the traffic pattern or lines that we can help enforce the social distancing and make sure there's a good flow, right, of the crowd. And then we also have task force medical, which is kind of unique. So task force medical, you guys, it includes our surgeon cell, which is Dr. Mike Cruz and his advisors up in Adelup advising the governor, right? And we also had a contingent of medics at GRMC. And those medics, what they were doing was kind of backfilling for other ER staff so that ER staff could go and focus on the COVID response. So what's kind of special about this task force medical, you guys, is that we understand that Governor Julian Guerrero was the first governor of all the states to activate first of all, her National Guard in this crisis, and then the surgeon cell. So what we've seen come out of that, because of her early actions and the early actions of the TAG, was that Guam, this was a report that came out, I want to say at the end of last week, that Guam was actually number 2 out of all the states in having flattened the curve. We got an early start. They activated us early, thanks to the foresight of the Gov. Right, and it showed in the statistics where we had, second to Hawaii, we had the most consecutive days in declining trend of new cases, and that's a report from the National Guard Bureau. Mm-hmm. So,
can you send us that, Mark?
Yeah, I sure can.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, I'll shoot it to you right after this.
Nice.
But it was nice for us to see that we're able to make a difference, hopefully, and have an impact in flattening that curve. And you know what, Chris and Sabrina, I believe that we played a part in doing that. We've helped do that. So, yep, we're proud to have made that impact.
Right on.
Well, great job. I know you guys were practically everywhere from day one.
Yeah.
You guys were out there helping our community. So thank you to the Guard.
You guys also took a lot of flack manning those checkpoints, so kudos for that too.
Yeah, and these things for a lot of us are relatively new, right? So there's a process, there's a learning curve.
Right.
I'll tell you guys, the good thing that we have in our military culture is this phrase called, adapt and overcome. So we're flexible. We do whatever it takes, basically, to accomplish our mission, which is in service of the people.
Hey, Mark, I know I said no curveballs, but this isn't really a curveball. I just said, have you heard anything about the whole commissary and remember there was that thing with the retirees and I think even the Guard was limited in their access. Again, it just came up. In the comments. So is there anything you can tell us about that, or just even from personal experience, do you know if that's still an issue?
Yeah, well, Chris, first of all, having known each other so long, I would expect nothing less.
Sorry.
No, that's good. That's good. Hey, you know me, I was a media guy, so and of course in the military, I'm a big First Amendment defender too. Right. So please ask away.
Yeah.
If I don't know, I'll go find out.
Right. So,
Chris, all I have for this case is really my personal experience, and I'd have to dig a little bit back through what had happened. I just came back from a deployment a few months ago, so I'd have to kind of look into it more. But my understanding is that there was also some figuring out, right? The Anderson and Navy were shaping their policies, and they made some adjustments to it as they went. That's just my basic unofficial understanding.
Right.
I am on chats with veterans. Shout out to my Booney dogs over there in the MP, and they pass information really well. And it seems like from what I'm hearing that there's not a lot of constraints anymore.
Okay.
I feel like our vets and retirees are getting access, but formally, Chris, I'd have to kind of look into it and get back to you.
Right on.
I did want to ask, you mentioned something about this medical task force over at GRMC. How was that decision made to put a National Guard unit over at GRMC, and was there not a need over at GMH?
Yes, there was. And so when I mentioned that the governor was the first among the states to activate her surgeon cell through the National Guard, right? That included, do you guys know Dr. Mike Cruz, Colonel Cruz? Yes. He's our National Guard surgeon, right? So as an advisor to the governor, he also had the role of unifying our medical assets, if you want to say our infrastructure, our personnel, all of our capabilities became a unified effort under the guidance of Dr. Cruz, Colonel Cruz, also under the guidance of the governor, of course. So there was some aligning to do, right? There was some shifting to do. If we had our main effort at the Guam Memorial Hospital for COVID response, of course that's going to draw some people and some assets from some other places. So what our medics were doing, Sabrina, was going and filling in those gaps. So if they were short people at one place because they needed to be pulled to focus on COVID response, our medics supplied that. Like I was saying earlier, we can cover down on gaps until we're no longer needed there. That was the purpose of those medics, Sabrina, at GRMC, and they finished their mission on Saturday after about 2 months in the ER. So I hope that answers your question, but they were like a backfill.
I see. So there was a gap in terms of in need of medical personnel over at GRMC, so the National Guard was tasked to assist.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I think that's it for me. Was there any final comments?
You don't have any more. You don't have any more curveballs up your sleeve, Bree? That you know.
No, I just thought that was interesting that we had a task force of National Guard members.
I mean, come on, you got to, you know.
It was a great thing to see. You know, Sabrina, some of those medics are some of our younger soldiers, and they got hands-on experience in a real ER. They got credit hours toward their, hands-on type certifications that are needed, lab time or whatever it's called. And it was really productive for their careers. In fact, when I go out and take my pictures and talk to the troops, I've heard them say that it was the best experience they've had in their whole career.
Wow.
Getting hands-on. So, yeah, I mean, it's win-win all around. We're here to support the community, here to support the civil authorities, and we're getting a skilled workforce too in the Guard. We're enhancing our skills, and we're building those relationships with the community. So we're just so proud to have done it, in support of the Gov who believed in us and activated us first out of all the states. We're just so happy that we could have accomplished what we were here for.
And again, none of them were at GMH.
Well, no, none of the medics were inside the ER at GMH. That's correct.
Okay.
All right, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
And Sabrina, if we ever went back in time and made a malfunction together, like I did with Chris, then you could throw me a curveball.
Mine are pretty fast.
Yeah. She don't really do curveballs. She just straight up blow the heat by you, and you wait. What was that? Or throw the heat at you.
Yeah. I'm sure it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Okay, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Wash your hands.
We need to talk again.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do this weekly. I think it's cool. You guys just tell us what you need, what you're up to, and how we can help.
Well, thank you guys. And thanks for supporting the First Amendment rights. And it was great chatting with you guys.
All right.
Take
Always.
care.
Thanks, Mark.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Wash your hands.
Yep. Wash your hands. All right. You're so slick, Bree.
What?
I could see what you're. I mean, Colonel, right? Colonel Mike Cruz runs GRMC. A bunch of Guard doctors at GRMC. I mean, it is
what it is.
7:29. Hey, it's the KUAM News Takeover, Guam's favorite containing COVID. Coming up a little bit later on the show, we'll get attorney Tom Fisher of the double pay lawsuit fame and catch up with him. I know he's anticipating filing something this week, so we'll get the word from attorney Fisher, as I know a lot of our government employees continue to follow this double pay issue, as we do our part to not let it get too far away from us by holding all the stakeholders